Good day, campers. Today I'd like to talk about how to troubleshoot problems with the 12-volt house battery system in your RV. Motorhomes also have a chassis battery, but that's not part of this video. A couple of notes. First, while I've tried in this video to cover as many possibilities for failures as I can, you may have a unique situation that I was not able to cover. Second, in my effort to cover as many possibilities as I can, this is a fairly long video. You can fast forward past the parts that don't apply to your situation. With a little patience, it will pay off in the end. There are three types of power in an RV. One is the AC, or alternating current. This is the same as the power in a sticks and bricks home. Most just call it electricity. The second is DC, or direct current, which is the same as the power in your automobile. Most just call it battery power. The third is propane or gas. The second is the one we'll be talking about today. Important note, in order to troubleshoot the battery system, you will need a multimeter. I've linked to the meter I use in the comments. The 12-volt system in your RV consists of a number of components. First is the batteries themselves. They are what powers a lot of the things in your RV, like the lights, the control board in an RV refrigerator, the fan and the control board in your furnace, your 12-volt fridge, and an inverter if you have one. Second is the charger converter. This converts 120 volts to 12 volts in order to charge your batteries when connected to shore power or a generator. Third is a solar system. Solar is an option in many newer RVs or can be added to an existing RV. That system is made up of two parts. The solar panels themselves, these convert the sun's energy into DC voltage. The solar power supply, or controller, this is basically a charger that uses the power from the solar panels to charge your batteries. Now that you know about the parts of the system and what they can do, now we can talk about what can go wrong and how to fix it. There are three basic types of failures. First is just a device failure. This is when only one of the things that uses battery power is not working. This is not actually a battery problem, but just the failure of one device. Next is a total power loss. This is when none of the things that use battery power are working. This is usually a charging issue. Let me pause here to talk a bit about monitoring your batteries. If you are not monitoring your batteries, and for some reason the converter stops charging the batteries, you may not know it until the batteries are totally discharged, most likely damaging them to the point that they have to be replaced after you fix the charging problem. I strongly recommend that you have a way to monitor your batteries, either with a battery monitoring system or at least a basic wall-mounted voltmeter. This is my wall-mounted digital voltmeter. It is connected directly to my batteries. I have linked to this meter in the description. A battery monitoring system, of course, will give you a lot more information, but this little meter is plenty of monitoring for the average RVer. Be sure to check out my video on the least expensive way to monitor your batteries. And last is low voltage. This condition is also common for an RV that has solar power because the solar can help charge the batteries if your converter has stopped working. This can be an early sign of a charger issue, failing batteries, or a wiring issue. If you have a battery monitoring system or a panel-mounted voltmeter, this is your first sign of a problem before your batteries are damaged beyond repair. Note, If all is well, your battery voltage should be around 13.2 to 13.6 volts. This is known as float voltage. You will occasionally see voltage around 14.5 volts. This is just the converter catching up from devices using more power than the converter can provide and is perfectly normal. Now that you know what the battery system is and what can go wrong, let's get into some actual troubleshooting. Let's say you get up in the morning or come home from shopping or whatever, and you notice your RV refrigerator is off. An RV refrigerator can operate on shore power or propane, but it needs battery power to operate either way. A residential fridge operates on shore power or an inverter, but that's not the subject of this video. Be sure to watch my video on troubleshooting the electrical system in an RV. A 12-volt fridge does operate on battery power, but we'll stick to the RV fridge for this video. First thing you need to do is see if it's just a problem with the fridge or the entire battery system. To do that, let's check some of the other things that use batteries. Are the lights bright? Is the furnace working? If you have a battery monitor or a wall-mounted voltmeter, what is the battery voltage? Is it below 13 volts? Then it's the battery system. If it's above, then the problem is just the fridge. If your lights are bright, the fridge is working, then probably just the fridge. To be sure, take your multimeter and actually check the voltage at the battery. The lights will work at a lower voltage than your fridge. The only way to know for certain what your battery voltage is to actually test the voltage directly at the batteries. This eliminates any wiring or anything else that's in the system. I have two batteries. They are wired together. As you can see, I have 13.4 volts. So if your batteries are above 13 volts, then you know that your problem is most likely the fridge. So you can go ahead and troubleshoot specifically the refrigerator. If your voltage happens to be below 13 volts, then you know that your charger is not working, that you have a problem actually with the batteries or the battery system. Remember, troubleshooting low voltage is the same procedure as troubleshooting a total power loss, except the batteries are not completely dead. The first and simplest thing to check is the battery disconnect switch. This is the on position. You can tell because the key will not come out. If the battery disconnect switch is off, then turn it on. For the sake of testing from this point on, if you have solar, you'll need to either cover your solar panel or disconnect your solar panels from the controller. Depending on the size of your solar system, your batteries will go down much faster overnight than they do during the day, if your solar is working correctly. So if we have a problem with the battery, we know that the converter is doing or not doing its thing. The next thing we want to do is find out if we have shore power. If your converter does not appear to be charging, first you need to determine if the converter is receiving power. First thing you want to do is you want to check to see if you have shore power. This is a portable EMS. It shows whether I have power on one leg or both. If you have a 30 amp rig, then you would only have one leg. If you have a 50 amp coach, then you have two legs. Remember, if you have 50 amp service and the leg powering your converter has no power, that's the same as not having shore power. If you don't have an EMS, then you can use a outlet tester. This is a 50 amp outlet tester from Progressive. It shows, if you look really close, you can see the green light under correct. If there is a problem, there would be one of these other lights lit. So what Progressive says is to turn the breaker off, plug in the tester, turn the breaker on, and check that everything is working. If everything is working, then we want to move on and do a little further testing. If you do not have an EMS or an outlet tester, then you'll actually have to test your outlet with a meter. I have linked to both this EMS. It is also available in a 30 amp. And I have linked to the Progressive Industries outlet tester in the description of this video. The easiest way to test your plug is with two people. One to hold the meter and the access panel, and the other person to actually test the plug. I will show testing both the 50 amp outlet and the 30 amp outlet. First, the 50 amp outlet. The inside of this 50 amp outlet is much larger than my meter leads, and in fact, the contact is deeper than my probe will reach. So I'm carefully going to use a flat blade screwdriver to give me access to the contacts. This is a hot leg, this is a hot leg, this is ground, and this is neutral. First thing we want to do is measure from each leg to neutral. And we should see somewhere around 120 volts. And we're going to measure from the other leg to neutral. Again, 120 volts. We also want to confirm that we don't have an open ground, and we will test from a leg to ground. The last test we want to make is we want to check from leg to leg. This is kind of a double check to make sure everything's working correctly. Change your meter to 750 volts and measure from leg to leg. And that should give you around 240 volts. So that's the 50 amp outlet. Next, we'll test the 30 amp outlet. We will not need the screwdrivers for that because my meter will reach. So this is ground, this is hot, this is neutral. So we're going to measure from neutral to hot. Should get around 120 volts. And then we want to measure from neutral to ground. This proves we don't have an open ground, and I have 120 volts. If any of these test poorly or not correctly or less than 120 volts, then you'll need to contact the RV park and have the pedestal fixed. If you do have a good pedestal, if everything checks out at the pedestal, if you have power coming from the pedestal to your RV, next thing you need to do is verify that you actually have power inside the RV. Go to your main panel. You'll need to remove this cover so that you can get access to the circuit breakers. To verify that we have power inside the main circuit breaker panel, these are the two main breakers. This is your neutral bar. So we're going to measure between neutral and each big breaker. There's 120 volts. There's 120 volts. I know that my second breaker is the breaker for my converter. So I want to verify that I actually have power going to my converter, and I do. If the converter is still not working, then we'll have to actually test the converter. If we don't have power here, we'll need to check and figure out where we're losing it between the pedestal and the circuit breaker panel. The next step would be to check the power cord. If you have power at the pedestal, but do not have power inside at the circuit breaker panel, the next thing you would do is remove this connector Use that same two-person procedure that you used on testing the outlets in the pedestal and actually test inside this connector to make sure that you're getting power to the RV itself. If you have power here but not inside, then you'll need to start chasing wires between this outlet and the circuit breaker panel inside. If everything is working, if you have power, then the last step is to actually test the converter itself. This is the converter. Is the fan running? If it is, you have power at this outlet. If not, unplug the converter and check power at the outlet. If there's no power, then there's a wiring problem between the circuit breaker and the outlet because you have tested the circuit breaker. Check the voltage here at the output of the converter. Should be the same as what you are seeing at the batteries. If not, you have a wiring problem between the converter and the batteries. If it is the same and you have power going in, check the fuses. You want to actually remove these fuses and measure them with your meter to make sure that they're not open. If they're good, either the batteries are bad or the converter is bad. Next step is to have the batteries tested. If they are good, most likely the converter is bad. To check that, carefully disconnect the ground wire, which is the black one, from the output of the converter. Then you can check the voltage. If there is none, the converter is bad and it's time for a new converter. If there is, you have a wiring problem. It's rare, but you could have two wires that have rubbed together and are drawing enough current to drop battery voltage, or you could have a wire somewhere that is too small and is overheated and adding extra resistance. Thanks for watching, and I hope this helped you locate and fix your battery system problem. And please remember to like and subscribe.